Shoegazing podcast is back. I am Jesper Ingevaldsson of shoegazing.com, one of the leading blogs in the world on quality shoes. This is the 15th episode of the podcast after a few months of silence. COVID has prevented me from meeting people to interview for the podcast, something I prefer to do in person since both interviews and sound quality tend to be best that way. But with the current situation with travel restrictions etc. continuing, well, here we are with an episode recorded over distance. Sound quality isn't great, hope you can bear with that. I hope to be able to solve it in a better way going forward. In this episode we meet Leon Fan, who together with Kevin Lee founded the famous shoe store Medallion Shoes, now with two huge brick and mortar stores in Beijing and Shanghai in China. They have sort of become the Chinese equivalent to the Isetan Men's shoe department in Tokyo, Japan, in a way that it's not only setting a big mark on the huge domestic market, but also internationally. This also goes for the fully handmade, ready-to-wear, made-to-order and bespoke brand Acme Shoemaker, where Leon Fan also is a co-founder. We of course talked a lot about Medallion Shoes and how they have worked to become so successful, but also about things like the Chinese classic quality shoe market in general, and about the increasingly interesting field of quality shoe brands and shoemakers coming out of China. So enjoy the listen. All right, Leon Fan of Medallion Shoes, a warm welcome to the Shoegazing podcast.
Thank you, Jesper, for give us a chance to having this event. Really appreciate that.
Yeah, we're very happy to have you. I mean, this is the first distance recorded podcast interview. So, but I hope it would turn out well with sound quality and all that.
Yeah.
But just to start, I mean, Medallion Shoes has become one of the most renowned quality shoe stores in the world. Rather quick, I'd say. How did it all start?
Actually, it was back to like 2007, 2013, when Kevin started, the predecessor of Medallion, in his living room. And then after that, I just made a first purchase of a pair of bar shoes from Kevin, which is, I still remember, it is an Italian Oxford. And then I joined the practices. After 2 years in 2015, we think we should have a kind of a formal businesses, because that's this is the area we think we are passionate about and we think have a bright future. And then as I said, in 2015 we started the company, and then we connected with the shoemakers in Europe, which we knew for years, and then we paid for a visit. I remember the first 4 brands we carried from 2015 is Bosch, definitely Bosch, as well as Paolo Scafola, Antonio Macariello, and Riccardo Costetti. It was back in 2015, and after that we're keeping with the journey, and now we have a lot of shoe brands. I think around 15 to 16 shoe brands, as well as accessories, menswears, accompanied to make our customer happy.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know about Medallion Shoes, how would you describe it?
I think we are more than a multi-brand a gentleman's shoe store. We are actually we literally think we are a kind of a lifestyle consultant mainly for the Chinese customer. We just, as I said, we have like 15 different shoe brands carried. And each of the model are handpicked. We carefully choose the model which we think our customer will like, and also is the classic model of this, definitely shoe brands. So I think altogether we have more than 200 different models in stock, and that's like over 3,500 pairs of shoes in our stock. That's a heavy stock, but we think it's important to have this stock to entertain our client, right? Because for the Chinese customer, it is quite important to give them a chance to to experience what is the all different kinds of shoes, right? We are covering not just the formal and special events, but also the daily and casual occasions for our customer, and we offer great variety to our customers, so then they can create their own style for the outlook, and it's an all-around kind of experience. And at the same time, we are focusing on the communication with our client and to receive their feedback, the good things, pros and cons of different products, and what they are expecting to have in Medallion. And sometimes questions like can you just give me something to buy for my girlfriend, that kind of stuff. And we are trying to understand clients' needs and get whatever we can to make them happy. So we are, as I said, a kind of advisor for our customer, but it all starts from the shoes. And as I said, the accessories, menswear, they are just carefully picked for match with the shoes. We don't want to make ourselves focusing on too much things, right? We just focusing on shoes, and based on that, we try as much as we can to satisfy the customer.
Yeah, because what's is the most striking, obviously, is the size of the stores, and as you mentioned, the huge amount of shoes that you have. Because now there's two shops, one in Shanghai and one in Beijing, right? How big are they? What's the square meters space of the stores?
In Shanghai is about 280 square meters. 280 square meters. In Beijing is similar because we just moved to a new place, which is a high-end shopping mall. It's about 240 square meters. In Beijing, similar size but different style, because in Shanghai we are in a very old school shipyard with fancy. It's not like look like a mall, right? It's just like an art center. So we are trying to, but the style of the shop, we are trying to make it look consistent, and so that the customer will feel they are the same. They are Medallion stores. Right?
Who are the typical customers at Medallion Shoes, would you say?
I would say because as I said, we cover we covered different brands, starting from entry level like TLB, Camina, Chenny, to Girling, St. Crispin's, and Acme, that kind of shoes. So I think our customers, starting from the young graduates who is getting to started their career, as well as the rich businessmen who want to choose the fancy shoes for themselves for kind of events. So but all of them, I think most of our customers, they just wanna they already experience a lot of luxury brands, right? They want to try something special, stylish, iconic, with good quality, good looking, but just make them looks unique and special. I would say. But and at the same time, I think they just want to create their own lifestyle. As I said, a different outfit for themselves. That's basically the identity of Medallion's client.
Yeah, cool. And what's the key to the success of Medallion, would you say?
I think first thing is our passions to doing this business. Shoe business it's very complicated, and it's not an easy business, right?
No, really.
But both Kevin and I are shoe maniacs. We love shoes. We do love to spend time on selecting the models. As I mentioned, 50 different brands. Each and every model are handpicked by us, and we do spend a lot of time to adjust the lasts and models and have that kind of discussion with the shoemaker, because the Chinese customers' foot is different from what you have in Europe, right? So it's quite important for us to make sure the model we choose for our customer is what they want. And of course, the leather, the styling, a lot of things you need to consider. So that's a very tedious work, right? And you will spend a lot of time on that. That's the first thing. And another thing is that I think we spend all of our time on thinking about, how to make our customer happy. It's not just the product, right? You need to think about the services, as well as the personal experience your client will have in your store, no matter, and also not just offline but also online, because we start our business from online, right? So you will receive different kind of questions if you are facing a potential client which don't have much experience of handcrafted shoes, right? They will throw out that kind of questions to you. You need to handle it carefully, and then bring it to your stores and let them feel the shoes. So there is a lot of procedures you need to fine-tune if you are trying to attract new and potential customers. And also the staff, right? We keep training our staff to let them understand what the brands we carry. And the most important thing is that I think all of the staff here in Medallion, they are not just our staff. They are shoe lovers, and they love everything we have here, and they have personal experience of all the products we have. They're wearing the jackets, shoes, trousers, all Medallion products. So everyone is really, really proud of this. So I think I would not say success, but I think we are on the right track to make the businesses successful, I would say. Yeah.
What's been the main challenges, would you say?
I would say it's the customer experience. Maybe you will have this if I think the Chinese customer is somehow different from the foreign customers because they just receive too many messages at the same time, right? They keep changing the focus. So how to make Medallion attractive in Chinese customers' eyes is really tough for us. And actually we think about this question every day. As I just mentioned, you need to think about the product, the service, client experience, shop, staff, the entire service procedures, each and everything you have to keep it on mind. And I think that's the key. If you stop thinking about this for, let's say, 6 months, and you will pay for it. And that's, our experience in the past 6 years.
You're also involved in Acme Shoes. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, Acme, I think it's an interesting, very interesting experiment we have. Actually, it all started from the question you just mentioned, because with the business going on, a lot of customer is asking for bespoke services, and can you make the personal shoes for me for a special event? But at that time, for a lot of reasons, we just barely, we could we just couldn't provide that kind of services. So we think about it. We started to think about this back to 2019, because we are in the businesses. We knew a lot of Chinese shoemakers, and they have a lot of skills and spent like 20 plus years in the business and making the shoes. So that's all the start from Acme. And after that, we are thinking that what about gathering a group of highly skilled craftsmen and just making a kind of handcrafted, top-notch handcrafted shoe brands. And that idea comes about 2 years ago. But you need to do a lot of things, right? The preparation, the time of preparation, and how to make the business successful is actually a lot of different obstacles during the processes. But and the COVID is another big problem for
obviously.
us. But anyway, we just just get the ball rolling.
Yeah, because it must have been. It seems like it's been going very well. Has it surpassed your expectations?
Actually, I think I would say currently it's on the right track, because we do receive. I mean, Acme do receive a lot of feedback from the customer all over the world. Up to now, we sold Acme sold about 300 pairs. More than 50% are from overseas customers.
Yeah, okay.
Which is good for us. We do receive a lot of feedbacks, and the good thing is that all the efforts we made before, worse, because I think we receive very positive feedback on the fitting of the shoes, as well as different lasts and models, which is good. Of course, we still need to improve a lot in different things. But with a bunch of currently Acme has 15 highly skilled workers. They work together. Each and every workers, they focus on one different step, but we are trying to organize them in a very good way, so that they can present their own best, but still consider the shoes as a whole. So I think that thing is that we are just give the Acme the opportunity to not just focusing on some specific styles, specific models, specific techniques, but we are mixing all these things together, right? So create a huge variety for a customer. If he has his own idea, he can create whatever he wants, with Acme. So, but it's just the starting point. We hope that if we just keep on working on improving everything, probably in the next 1 or 2 years it will getting better for Acme.
Cool. Yeah. So let's broaden that perspective a bit. And how would you describe the development of the interest in classic welted footwear in China? Go back, say, 20 years or so.
Back to 15 years ago, a lot of Chinese young men, they just travel abroad to have education in Europe and UK, US. When they come back, they like classic welted shoes. So the demand is always there.
Right.
But I would say that the market is it's just growing steadily, and with the personal consumption just keep growing, as well as the huge population here in China. So you when you consider these two things together, you will see the market, the potentials of the market is big. But the key thing is that how to find these customers and bring them up. I mean, as I said, when the young man, they just graduated, they started at the entry level, right? But if they knew Medallion, they can tell that TLB, Camina, Cheney is the best choice they can have at a price range. But the key thing is that you need to find these customers to be in the loop, right? That's the key things. And at the same time, a lot of customers, they knew luxury brands, the big brands, right?
Yeah.
They pay a lot for the shoes, but in terms of the quality, actually, they don't have they just get a lot of messages at the same time, right? And they cannot make the right choices, I would say. So it's very important to deliver this message through certain channels to these customers, so that they can try, classic handwork shoes. Yeah.
Because is it correct that the boom for classic shoes has come a bit later in China than in some other parts of the world?
Yes, I would say that. It will take a lot of time to have a bigger market. And I think the needs of Chinese customer is highly diversified. For example, like black Oxford shoes. If you look into the data of Medallion shoes of past 5 years, you will see that the portion of black shoes is at I will not say very low, but relatively low level.
Yeah.
Definitely lower than Japan and Europe. But,
because it's the best seller for most brands. Otherwise, yeah.
Yeah. But the non-black collections, as well as non-formal collection, like say Derby, non-Oxford shoes, that kind of sales I think is higher. Yeah, so I think in China, for Medallion's clients, over 80% of our clients, they don't wear formal suits just like me in their daily life, right? They wear jeans, blazers, jackets, that kind of things, but they still need fancy shoes. So it's quite important to understand their needs, right? And so that they can match the shoes with their outfit. That's the most important thing for our businesses, right? If you just bringing a lot of formal shoes and tell them that this is good because it looks great, but they don't have any occasion to try these shoes unless they are joining a wedding, right? But that's not the key part, right? So I think it's quite important to find the right spot of your customer, and understand what is the typical needs in daily life, and then they will just make the right choice.
Yeah. But would you say it's still growing? It's going upwards, the interest in classic shoes?
Yes. As I said, because the population is huge, right?
Yeah.
And people are thinking about well-being, right? They want to make themselves look good. That's the most important thing. But the ranking in China, if the consumption, first thing is I think is children. Second, women. Last but not least, dog. And man is the last choice.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
below the dog.
but with below the dog. But with huge population, you will always find the customer with a huge base. So as I said, the key thing is how to identify these customers and bring them in and become your customer. That's the key part of the businesses.
How big can it become? It's a rather wide question, but yeah.
For us, I think for Medallion, currently we sold about 4,500 pairs last year, right? We think we could achieve 20,000, 30,000. That's not a big number, right? It's just I'm not talking about a big number, but it could be achieved if we manage to get in more customer in a most efficient way. It's just for us, but for the entire market, I think it's big. It's much bigger than that figure.
You mentioned that it's you sell quite a lot of also casual shoes, but would you say that it's increasing the casual trend in China as we sort of see in Europe and the US?
Yes, I think the trend is increasing, but for example, like sneakers, we have a lot of demand here in sneakers, and we carry sneakers for different brands, but I think there is a lot of touches in sneakers to make it look special, and a lot of customers like loafers. Loafer with different style, that's another trend. We managed to create different loafers for different occasions, with different brands, which is also a very successful, experience for us. But I think it's highly diversified, demand, from different, customer group. Different people want different things, so you cannot just focusing on one direction. Let's say if you want a complete casual, but without you change everything to casual, that there will be a problem. But we just want to have different touches for different occasions to meet people's demand, right?
And I mean, today all brands want to get their foot in to the Chinese market. What would you say is needed to succeed for European or Japanese or US brands, for example?
I think the key thing is that you need to understand, what the Chinese customer wants. As I mentioned before, because I think we don't have the legacy here of classic welted shoes, right? For example, in Europe, when a young man want to choose, the first pair of shoes, he will, in most cases, he will follow the choice by his parents, right? His father, his grandfather, let's say they choose a pair of ABC shoes, and without any doubt, they will just make their first choice like that, right? But for Chinese customers, they don't have that legacy. They're starting from, I want this kind of shoes. So he is trying to gather all these information online and offline from his friends, and then he just make his decision by own judgment. I would say that is very subjective. But for a foreign brand, you need to think about what is the right spot. Your product spot to the customer, as well as how can you just compare with your competitors here in China? Because a lot of brands carry business here in China, right? I would say during that time, maybe Medallion is the right parties to work with, because we know our customers' needs. Although we carry like 15 different brands, but it's not a problem for us, right? We can always find the right spot for our customer, for different kind of shoes. So,
who would you say are the main competitors to Medallion in China today?
We don't think we have kind of a major competitors, because a lot of brands we carried, they have another retailer here in China, in Shanghai, in Beijing, or other part of the city. But in terms of the turnover, I think they are not at our level. I would say they were a kind of a just multi-brand store, right? They are not just focusing on shoes. They also carry menswear, suits. They are just a kind of a buyer's shop, right? But we are just professionals focusing on shoes, and I think the customer experience we provided to our client is totally different from other brands. Yeah.
And if we look at the manufacturing of quality welted shoes in China, and again going back in time a bit, how has things changed, would you say?
I would say the quality of Chinese, made in China shoes is getting much better these days because a lot of Chinese shoemakers, they trained in Europe, going back to China, joining different businesses run by different companies, right? So the quality is getting much better, and the styling is better too. But I would say there is no competitive advantages in terms of the price, quality, material, everything, because the world is flat, right? And the cost of running a shoe company here in China is very high. I will not say it is cheap anymore. So, which is a good thing, for the foreign brands, right? Because I think Chinese customer now understand. I think most of Medallion's customer understand. You get what you pay, right? So if you pay a 200 euro for a pair of shoes, you cannot compare it to 400 euro a pair, right? So this is very clear, to me, if you compare it to like the business back to 5 years ago. Right?
Because today, my experience being a European is that the made in China, it doesn't have the bad ring to it anymore here. How is it seen by the Chinese people?
I think more and more Chinese customers, they like Chinese shoes. Especially for the shoes under the price tag under, let's say, 250 euros, and you do see a lot of new choices for made in China shoes with relatively good quality, stylish, everything. So I think the market under 250 euro is dominated by traditional Chinese shoemakers, as well as the new shoemakers joining to the business with better quality, but also a higher prices. That's what I see here in the market. But if the price goes up to like 350 euros, then the choice is you have much more choices, right? Different foreign brands in the market, and also with some Chinese shoemakers products, and at that time they are the customer will have a lot of choices for that.
Yeah, because what I think is that you still get a lot of value for your money buying Chinese made shoes.
Yeah, and I would say that probably more and more Chinese shoemaker were getting into the area where Acme is doing at this moment. But it all depending on how you run the businesses. What is your vision of the businesses, right? How you trying to attract your customer. There's a lot of things to think about, not just making shoes without looking out of the looking at the sky. So it's I would say it's not an easy businesses, but I would say there is a lot of the variety in the market here in China of hand welted classic shoes will be very interesting. Yeah.
I know what one can see being criticized a bit is that Chinese makers quite often copy famous European or Japanese brands, that they sort of lack their own identity to a certain extent. What do you say about that?
I would say that because people like good things, right? It's just I would say for identical models of one shoe brand. Everybody have kind of different interpretation of the shoes of these models, right? So you just go through that period. But the key thing is that if you just follow that one, and doing nothing, just doing the copy, being the copycat, that's not good, right? But if you just, collect these ideas and interpret it in your own way, like, putting other stuff in and mix into it, I would still say that's a kind of innovative way of, creating, new ideas and models. Because at the end of the day, your customer will tell by themselves, right?
Yeah.
If they think you have, special stuff in the product, and they will buy it. Otherwise, they will just see it and say, "Oh, okay, that's just a copycat. I don't want it anymore." So at the end of the day, the market will tell, right? If you do have a great product with great design and your own touch of the brand, and then customer will make their own choices. I would say that it's not just because because the great model, everybody like great models, right? I would say that.
So how do you think the making of welted footwear in China will develop the coming decade or so?
As I said, the market will getting bigger, but it will be, as I said, highly diversified, right? So you should find the right spot to get into the businesses. If you are completely new to the Chinese market, for the existing player like a Medallion, we are trying to grab high quality customers as much as we can through different ways. For example, we are having now we have 2 stores, right? Beijing and Shanghai. Actually, we plan to have 1 or 2 stores in other part of China, let's say Western China, because the market there is huge. A lot of customer there request us to have a brick and mortar store there to attract more customer, and I think it's important. But due to the COVID, we just stop the plan. But we are thinking to have new stores, and then we have to mix the business online, offline in a more efficient way. That's very important for us, and we are trying to run the businesses organically, online and offline, and just promote a couple of brands in a more systematic way, so that the turnover could be doubled or tripled in the next 1 or 2 years.
How much do you sell online today?
About 1/3 of our product turnover was sold online, especially in special events like Black Fridays. We have 11/11, November 11. That figure is huge. So I think that it will keep that portion. It's like 1/3 online, another 60 to 70% offline. But with more and more stores there, I don't know the pattern, but probably we'll keep it like that.
But that's the thing that you are looking at the coming years now for Medallion, to open new brick and mortar stores in other parts of China then?
Yeah, definitely. We want to do that and expand our footprint here in China.
Cool. And what about selling internationally? Are you looking at increasing that?
At this moment, I think we do receive, definitely for Acme, because as I just mentioned, 50% of Acme sells to overseas customers. I think we will just keep it like that. But the turnover, I mean the Acme is, we cannot have kind of very productive volume for Acme, right? What we are thinking is like at this stage, probably 700 pairs to 700 pairs, 800 pairs at most. I would not say other that you will just compromise, the quality of the shoes, right? Because we only, we manage the business in that way. It's not a massive production, but except for Acme, I think we are focusing on Chinese market.
Yeah.
Because that's where we live, right? Of course, we do have overseas orders for a couple of foreign shoemakers.
Because you have some special makeups that you can't find anywhere else.
Yeah. That's but that's not the key part of our business. We are just focusing on the market here in China, because this one is really big enough for us to to do.
Can't complain on the size there. For sure.
Yeah.
All right, Leon Fan of Medallion Shoes, thank you very much for being part of the Shoegazing podcast.
Yeah, thank you, Jasper, for giving me the opportunity to have a chat with you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Shoegazing podcast. For much more on classic shoes, visit shoegazing.com. The Shoegazing podcast will be back with a new episode in a short while, so hear you again soon.